Hello. Today we're starting Unit 6, the role of government. The role of government in each economy depends on number one, the economic system this country adopts. Number two, the constitution of the nation. So, as we studied before, there is the extreme free market economy, and on the other side, the extreme command economy. Free market and command. In a command economy, we said that the government owns all factors of production. It does all the economic activity. In a free market economy, people own the factors of production. It is the forces of the market, supply and demand, that determine what to be produced, how, and for whom. However, we said that these are two models that do not exist in reality. In between is the mixed economic systems. Mixed economic systems. These systems are the ones that exist in reality. So, mixed economic systems, at this, there are economic systems closer to free market, which are called capitalists, or we call them market economy. And here, closer to command, which we called communism, such as China, such as Cuba, and so on and so forth. What we've been studying so far is the market economy. So we're going to speak about the role of government in a market economy. In a market economy. Okay, since people own the factors of production, market economies usually tend to be democratic. Democracy results in elections of parliament or parliament. This parliament is responsible to hire the government or the cabinet, to pass laws, and to monitor the performance of the cabinet to make sure that there is no stealing, there is no inefficiency, there is no corruption. Okay, so in a democratic economy, the parliament is responsible for, this is the parliament is the organization or the entity responsible for passing laws. It is called the legislative whereas the cabinet is the administrative, the one that does what the parliament wants to be done for the people. This is all politics. It is not in our concern here, but just to understand the role of government in a market economy. You have this sheet, visual number 1, posted on ThinkWave on the dashboard. It summarizes the role of the government. Number 1 is to provide the legal system. Provide a legal system. What does this system want to do? To protect, number 1, private ownership. To protect consumers. To protect savers and investors. And finally, to protect workers. So the legal system that the government is responsible to provide is to do this, to protect those. Number 2 is to provide public goods. Why? Because the private sector would not provide public goods. Why? We will have a whole video explaining the characteristics of public goods and why the private sector does not provide the public goods. Number 3, to deal with externalities. We've talked about externalities before and we're going to talk about them again. Externalities are the external costs or benefits other than that the producer or the consumer gets, which means anything that affects other people other than those who are buyers or sellers of a certain product. Now, this is called, these two are called market failure. The forces of supply and demand fail to deal with these. So that's why the government has to deal with them, to provide the public goods and to deal with the externalities. Number 4, to maintain competition. Why is it important to maintain competition? When we explained the market structures and we said that the more producers there are, the more efficiency there is. If I have competitors, I'll try to improve my production and sell it at the lowest possible price. Therefore, it has to maintain competition. We talked about the antitrust laws when we talked about competition, which regulates and controls the illegal practices of monopoly, if you remember, and breaking monopolies. We will also have another session for that. Number 5 is to redistribute income. Redistribute income. When we talked about income inequality and that some people earn very little and some people earn a lot, the role of government is to tax those with high incomes, to give those with low incomes. It does not collect the taxes and give it directly to the people, only in certain cases which will be explained later. But it takes the taxes to provide public goods and to deal with externalities and to do other things such as defense and so on. Number 6 is to stabilize economy. Stabilize the economy. What do we mean by stabilizing the economy? When there is high unemployment, it tries to reduce it. When there is high inflation, it tries to reduce it. When the rate of growth is slow or when the economy is in a recession, the government has a role to push the economy. This is called fiscal policy, and it is going to be explained in the next unit. So this will be explained in the next unit. These will have special sessions for them. Today we're talking about the providing the legal system to protect private ownership. What about private ownership do we need to protect? According to Adam Smith, self-interest is the driving force of a market economy. If you remember the invisible hand doctrine, that a person seeking his own self-interest is driven by an invisible hand to promote the benefit of others. So if I own a piece of land, I will probably use it to get the best return out of it. Am I going to grow food or build a shopping mall or a school? It depends on what I'm going to receive. At the same time, I am providing others with a service or a good that they want. So that's why it is important to protect private ownership. One of the disadvantages of communism was that there was no private ownership and therefore there is no motive to work more. Why should I work more if I cannot own a house or buy a car? Whereas in a market economy, private ownership is the incentive, the motive to do better work. How does the government protect consumers? when we buy any product, we have to check the ingredients, the components. There are standards for each product. If the product does not meet the standards, then it is not proper for consumer use. And there are organizations to protect consumers, جمعية حماية المستهلك, to protect the consumers. Savers and investors. The financial system, we said the central bank guarantees that the money of the people saved in the banks are not stolen, are not taken away from them. They guarantee that they can get their money back. Investors in the stock market, there are organizations or entities that follow up on the performance of the stock market. They have to safeguard the money of the investors so that they encourage people to invest. Otherwise, they would not. Workers. The standards of security of the working places, such as the helmet and the vests and the fire extinguishers in factories, these are all done through a legal system to protect workers from bad working conditions. At the same time, it guarantees that workers get a certain wage that would provide them with a proper standard of living. It guarantees that workers have vacations, workers' rights. So protecting private property, consumers, savers, and investors and workers is the first role of the government by providing a legal system to do that. Thank you, and see you later. Bye.